Hello everybody, hello Manchester United fans, welcome back to Forever United TV, bringing you your Manchester United updates. So we are halfway through the transfer window, no luck on transfers for Manchester United at the moment. This morning I want to talk about that message from Jason Wilcox. Wilcox demands not just Michael Carrick, but a meeting set with the players as well that happened on Monday. Does this really show who is in charge at Manchester United? The power struggle within, but have the lines been drawn? Want your comments on this and this story? Get involved in the live chat as well. Fabrizio Romano has also been talking about what Manchester United are doing in terms of the manager come the summer. Two big, well-known Premier League names in the pot and definitely being discussed by Manchester United. What happened to Solskjaer? And again, kind of takes us back to the start of the show and what the top story is. Why Wilcox shut down Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the end after he was Wilcox's top pick. Interesting stories coming about from last night and in and around Manchester United. I want to get into the depths of them and really get your opinions on this. So if you are in the live chat, get involved, get in there and get your discussions going, everybody. We're also going to discuss at the end of this video which way Michael Carrick needs to move forward. We've got some quotes from his MUTV interview we want to run through. Who would you play? Who do you think he's going to play? We talked about Mainu and Bruno last night, but could there be a bigger dilemma for Michael Carrick? All of that to come in this morning's show, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastic. Hope you slept well. Well, of course you did. There was no Man United football, no anxiety and no stress. That's what it's like when there's no Manchester United midweek games. The last few weeks have been pretty mental when it comes to Manchester United fans' opinions on our team and the football we've been watching. Michael Carrick's message is very clear, but does he already have an uphill task with the people that he's working with? Now, this is a little bit from the Athletic story that I'm just going to read out now regarding Jason Wilcox and what has been said. So quite clearly, Jason Wilcox has told Michael Carrick that he needs to make Champions League football. Top 5 is the target. I feel the problem that's going to come from this is the fans' opinions of this. So first of all, here's what he's apparently said, and this is what the Athletic have also been writing as well. On Monday, Jason Wilcox met with the Manchester United squad. So obviously, this was after Dan Fletcher's, well, I won't say Dan Fletcher's horror show, but United's horror show, the players' horror show, after going out the FA Cup. He stressed to the players that appointing the right caretaker manager is crucial and made it clear that qualifying for the Champions League is the target for the rest of the season. He's basically said, look, you've underperformed this season so far. Agreed completely. And you need to now make up for it and get Champions League football. Well, let's be honest. That's all we can really be realistically looking to aim for right now. There's only really one target for United. We desperately need European football. This club desperately needs European football. Whether it's Champions League or not, we've got no idea. It doesn't really matter to the future of Michael Carrick. He's going to be gone in June anyway. So the message is clear. Carrick needs to make top 5. The players have been told that they need to make top 5. Champions League football is the only way that you can actually, salvage anything from this season and come out of this with any face, really, you could say. But what about the actual accountability for the people above the players? The man himself actually talking here, Jason Wilcox. This is probably where I would say the fans get a little bit riled with what's going on right now. It's your fault. Fix it. You've got to do this. And that's it. Is that where we're at now? Is that where the power is at Manchester United? There is nothing at all. The way I looked at this, and automatically the first thing that came to my mind when I was reading this was that Manchester United fans aren't really going to stand for this. They're going to look at this and say, well, you basically just shifting the blame completely onto the manager and the players. And don't get me wrong, you all know my opinion on Manchester United's players right now. I really don't care about any of them. They have let me down as a fan and let us down as a fan base. Their performances have been absolute garbage. But there is always different sides to a story, and there is always accountability throughout a football club when it comes to poor performances. And there are many people above these players as well. The one who is actually calling the players out here, Jason Wilcox, that the fans would feel, well, I think, are definitely accountable for what's going on right now at this football club. There is a squad of players there that could have been completely different in dealing with the situation that we're in right now. Obviously, their man. And this is where I think it's, what's the saying that they say? It's the kettle calling the pot, I think is the saying. Sorry if I've got that wrong. It's an old school one, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, I'll read it out again and you'll see what I mean by this. On Monday, Jason Wilcox had a meeting with the Man United squad. He stressed to the players that the appointment the right caretaker manager is crucial. How about appointing the right manager or head coach in general at the start? It's like, it's not the players' fault who Ineos bring in with their vision. Like, the players have to obviously play under the coach and the manager. And again, please don't think that I'm letting the players off with this here, but it's crucial that they make the right decision in terms of the new interim manager and who's coming in. And they're expected to make top 5, and you're expected to make top 5 and get this club Champions League football. It's like there is no blame at all anywhere else. It's like they're saying here to me is that we're taking all of this stick, we're taking all of this online abuse, which it is, and all this critique, and you're getting away with it right now. Oh, no, the players are not getting away with it. I think the fans have made that very, very clear on match days by booing this team off every single game at Old Trafford, it seems, these days. The last time that the players didn't get booed off was Newcastle, and that was on Boxing Day. We're almost a month further down the line. There hasn't been one decent performance since that game, and that wasn't great on its own. So when you look at the look from the fans towards the players, yes, we know that these players are underperforming, but we definitely know that the blame needs to be shared at this football club, and the players are there because of the men above them, and they're not taking accountability, it would seem. And this is where this debate and this argument is going to go to another level, I feel. Jason Wilcox making sure that Michael Carrick knew that he needs to make top 5. How can you really tell an interim manager you got to make top 5 when you're already getting rid of him anyway? Look, it doesn't make sense, but that's the target, and that's what's been set. Within talks with Manchester United, Michael Carrick obviously discussed his backroom staff, and James Ducker did clarify that Michael Carrick was the one that brought in Steve Holland. He recommended him and his experience and expertise, and United agreed with that. It wasn't like United pushed Holland in. That was reported last night by James Duckers from the Telegraph. So that one, again, from what we were discussing last night. And I do think that the majority of everyone looking in and listening to this would be like, well, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. You've set your target, but look, what do you want us to feel from this? How do you want us to take this? The fans are only going to support what they see. And if they don't see the same amount of effort and organisation and cooperation on the pitch with the manager and whatnot, and that message coming across from the touchline, if we don't see that on the pitch, then you're not going to get the same level of support from the stands. That's where the fans are at right now, it seems. And I think the last few games, like I've just described there, are proof of that. Nothing here that's being written or said anymore is going to count for anything with these Manchester United fans. And I honestly feel like it has got to this point now where it's like, well, the only thing that can change, or the only way that you're going to convince us, is by getting Champions League. And maybe at least they've seen this at the football club. And if they don't make Champions League football, I expect at least 8 of that squad, and I'm talking some of the main players, to be out of the door. It's all right saying it, but what happens if they don't make it? What happens if they don't get Champions League? Are you going to do your job then and punish these players? Because the message I see from Wilcox there is that if you don't get Champions League, then your futures at this football club are up in the air and you won't survive here. That's the only way that message works for me. And obviously it's painful because we have to wait until the end of the summer to get an actual result on what Wilcox has said here. But then if we do make top 5, everything's forgotten, and all of the mess from the start of the season and no trophies again this season is forgotten because we made top 4, top 5. And it seems like they've got away with it. But still, I think a lot of fans are waiting to see what this ownership does in the summer and how they act. But that's there for me. Jason Wilcox saying that, kettle calling the pot and all of that jazz, that I think is only going to rile this fan base even more. I have got a poll running right now in the live chats. Is top 5 a realistic target right now? We have already had plenty of votes on this. Get involved in that poll, everybody, please, if you're live with us right now. Top 5, is it realistic? Is that a target that Manchester United can reach? At the moment, with near 500 quick votes in just 5 minutes, we are looking at a 38% say yes, 62% say no. We'll leave that running throughout the majority of the show and see how that changes, and if anybody does feel more confident. Well, I'm going to be honest right now. Do I think Manchester United, do I think this team under Michael Carrick can make top 5? No. And you'd be surprised in me saying that, because I've been very positive for the first half of this season. But what happened over this last 2 weeks has hit me and has put me back. I don't have any faith in this team. I've none at all. And it's up to them to change it, obviously. But if I was voting now, don't be persuaded or swayed by me. I don't think they've got it in them, after what I've seen so far, to make top 5. Prove to me that my feelings at the start of the season were right, and the way I feel right now is wrong, because you have actually seen the mess that you have caused by not being able to handle formation change, system change, attitude change, pecking order change, whatever it may be, how many minutes you think you should be playing at this football club. Look, forget about all of that and try and put this club forward, put this club first, the one that will give you this multi-million-pound lifestyle that you've got. Maybe a little bit of that, it's a little bit of something back to the fans that pay them wages. I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much, and this is the way that it is with football these days, at Manchester United in particular. But yeah, convince me. That's where I'm at anyway with it. Ant in the chat says, Carrick to build the new stadium as well. Well, no, come on. Ridiculous comment, but I love the super chat, mate. And I love the fact that you are trying to at least put a joke on top of this nightmare situation at the moment, mate. And at least we're still smiling. At least we are still smiling anyway. After 30 years of coaching and experience, in a similar situation, I'm afraid I cannot see how we turn this around and perform to make Europe. There will be no Europe. Well, we could get 7th and get Europa Conference League. I think United will be in Europe. I don't think we'll be in the Champions League. That's my prediction. At the moment, we are horrendous. We haven't won a game in 6 and we're still in the European places. Yeah, I know. That's mental. I don't even know how, after that many games, Manchester United are still within European places. Anyone know the injury De Ligt has been far too long out? De Ligt's on the way back. He has had a back issue which needed looking at. He's had it throughout his career, to be honest, and back problems come in and out. I know this myself. When you've got a back problem, I think you realise. But yeah, just on that one, he's the only player out at the moment. But De Ligt, he's on the recovery train. So that is something that's coming back as well. Wilcox demands mediocrity. He is an enemy of the club. This is not how a board should operate. Clueless, no vision, no acceptance of previous failure. Half the team not good enough, but have faith, question mark. No, says Mark. He's not having faith. He's not trusting in this ownership. I mean, ownership aside, do you believe that this squad is good enough with 17 games to go, with no interruptions throughout, to concentrate on winning 1 game a week? Does anybody feel like there is something in this squad? And you could add the fact that we've got a few players back now, and Carrick's going to bring back a different playing style, a different formation. Like Ahmad and Mbeumo are back this weekend. Is there any confidence or any belief in that? Let me know. Get in the comments section. If we could get top 5, this season would go down as a positive one, but it's easier said than done. Can you imagine after all of this season that we did make top 5? After everything that's happened, it would be like, right, let's forget about that season and all of the chaos that was in it because we made top 5. It would be ridiculous, but that would probably be the case. Hard to actually envision that now because it's so bad. But that literally would be what had happened. You're praying that other teams are still inconsistent, I think, in this as well. Every manager is getting shafted with a lack of investment. Look, I don't think they have been. I think investment's been there. I think investment's been better. But I think backing within the club and in different ways of backing, I think has been a big, big problem for Manchester United. And there's been a power struggle now with this new structure. And we're seeing the flaws in the structure that we didn't know were there because Ruben Amorim outed everything. We're now talking about this in a completely different way. I find I'm talking about it in a completely different way. We can only talk about what we see and what's happening and what clearly is happening now. It's like this message from Wilcox to the players. It's like, yeah, you will do this now. You will make this right. Well, okay, yeah, but what about what you're going to do? How are you going to fix this? Because we have to wait till the end of the season to see what they're doing. Like, I understand the players, like I said before, have underperformed, but there is nobody in this football club that's going to let you off the hook for what you created. And that's it. Block knows that saying. I don't know if it's the right one. He's laughing at me there, so I'm guessing I got it wrong. But you get what I'm saying anyway. It's an old school one. Please, Wilcox, I liked Neves, Anderson and Llorente, Mateta, Schattelbeck to United is better for next season. Please also make a plan for signing a loan. Kante, Kone to United is better for next season, please. Yeah, you can put your wishes in and put your wish lists in there. Don't count on it being a definite with Ineos is all I'll say. Let's get a couple of super chats in. Robbie says, we screwed up sacking Amorim. I don't think we necessarily screwed up there. I think we screwed up hiring him. Ultimately, you can go back on it. They made the mistake. Ineos balls this up. There's a lot of talk, and I'll go into this next story in a moment. Just quickly get through these other super chats, which is one from Brian who says, the summer transfer look worse every day. Cunha's a dud, Sesko struggling, and we brought in Bumo, who plays in the same position as Ahmad, our best player. Robbie also said, Wilcox is a... he should go. Whatever that is. Welcome to the members club as well, Duncan Lord. Really appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much for the super chats already that have come in on this show. Please keep your comments coming in. In terms of the situation with Ruben Amorim, quickly, just on that interesting one that came out yesterday from Rob Dorsett from Sky, who also talked about the situation with Ruben Amorim and how he always talked about how difficult a job it was. Some of the United bosses felt Ruben Amorim, despite his 14-month tenure at Old Trafford, was still surprised by how huge the club was. Basically saying, and this has been reported to Sky, that he kept on talking about how difficult it was, how it was, how the media was so on top of Manchester United, how everything was scrutinised, how every simple little thing was brought up, what happened at Manchester United. And their way of looking at that was, well, you're at Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's the same at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Everything is brought up in the media, especially when it's wrong. You've got to deal with that as a Manchester United manager. And they thought that where Ruben was thinking this was too much and it was ridiculous and things needed to change, Manchester United's view on this was that this is Manchester United. And if you can't handle the scrutiny of being a Man United manager, then you're not the man. And they were struggling with that, apparently, Rob Dorsett said from Sky. But look, it was... also on top of that, saying it's also key that Carrick is prepared to work within the structure with the Director of Football, Jason Wilcox, who was a big influence here. Now, that bit goes back into our top story again. There is clearly a power struggle, or was a power struggle, with Amorim and his team, and obviously the football structure at Manchester United. Key there, Rob Dorsett, chief reporter for Sky Sports, saying there that it's also key that Carrick is prepared to work within the structure with Director of Football Jason Wilcox, who has a big influence here. That, again, is just pinpointing the real problem that some people working at Manchester United are going to have. When they're going through this interview process for the permanent manager in the summer, it looks quite clear. And the statement coming out on the biggest broadcaster in the country, right there in what Rob Dorsett said, the message being sent from Manchester United The structure stands. The management team stands. Work within it or you don't work. It's a clear message for me anyway. Let me know what you think, everybody, from that. But that's a clear message for me that Manchester United are letting everybody know who is interested in this job. You've got to work with us. And that's it. And Jason Wilcox does seem to have an awful lot of power here. The more and more this gets looked into and reported into, there is clearly one thing showing, and that is that Jason Wilcox is calling the shots behind the scenes. Where we've said before, he's there at every single training session, he's overlooking everything. There's no issue in that. That's the sporting director's job. Questioning the manager on certain things, that's the sporting director's job. He's got to do a lot. He's got to do a lot within a football club. But we look at some of the potential names, and obviously we've seen Romano's piece last night as well. He was talking about Manchester United, and the names De Zerbi and Tuchel are right up there on top of Manchester United's list. Now, Romano did say on the De Zerbi side of thing that this is what the British media, he made it very, very clear that this is being reported by the British media, that De Zerbi is definitely highly thought of at Manchester United and is doing a great job at Marseille. Would he be tempted back in to England and to take the Manchester United's job? Remember before, and Romano said this before, with De Zerbi, it was a case of he wasn't ready and didn't think that the Manchester United project was the right move for him at the time. So, is it different now? Does he feel like he can come into Manchester United now in the summer after his experience over in France? He's gone away, he's come back, and maybe he's the right man for United. He's got the Premier League experience that Ineos wants. I mean, he's not won anything, but you look across to the other name that Romano mentioned there in Thomas Tuchel. And Thomas Tuchel definitely is a man on Manchester United's list. And Romano has talked about this. There is definitely no way, like Paul Scholes said the other day, and I was laughing about this, when he said, cancel Tuchel's contract now and get him to United. This is what United should be doing. It's like, seriously, Scholesy, come on. We all know that that's unrealistic. But there are certain other people that think United should be doing this now. And there are fans that think we should be getting a permanent manager now. But they're not going to just up sticks like Ruben Amorim did. And if we did that, some people would say, well, this is where it all went wrong before. We went and got a permanent manager in the middle of a season and gave him all of the backing and support, and we completely washed away a half a season. And then in doing so, the confidence is that low and the belief isn't there that we washed away a first full half of the next season as well. So, I mean, you could argue it both ways. Tuchel is interested in Manchester United. He has sat down with the club before. And this is where that comment there from Rob Dorset, for me, kind of really scuppers the idea of a big name coming in. Yeah, and it has been made very, very clear that any manager coming in, and we're talking about Michael Carrick here on this one, he has to work with Director of Football Jason Wilcox. He has got a big say on everything that happens at Manchester United. It does look, the more and more we read into every story at the moment, that Wilcox has been given a definite certain amount of power at Manchester United. And unfortunately for us, it's looking like this is starting to be the issue rather than the club moving forward, where we thought a structure coming in would have been right. And we complain about the people that were in working at United under the Glazers. At the moment, it's not getting any better. And this is the biggest concern of all. The results on the pitch are not getting better under Ineos. And that's something that even I, who was backing the idea of the structure at the start, is having to accept. This team is not getting any better. Whatever's going on at Manchester United, it's not making things better. And unfortunately, I hate to say it because I want to be positive about it, we are looking at the rest of this season resting on a man who has got next to nothing Premier League experience, quality in the Championship, and obviously he's brought in the right people around him, I feel. And I just hope that these players will look at Michael Carrick for what he is, an experienced man that's won everything, that's played under some of the best, and he's got a second-hand man that's managed and coached under some of the best Premier League managers we've seen. They have to look at that and take that on board. And then you've got the stories going across the bottom of your screen still there. And this is the big concern. the player power with the power struggle at United, an inexperienced manager coming in, you can see how people will label this an absolute car crash of a football club at the moment. And then you've got Manchester City, first of all, this weekend, who are flying right now. Literally flying into a final, into the 5th round of the FA Cup already. Well, they will be when they beat Salford or Swindon. I don't even know that game played last night, actually, and who won it, sorry. But this is where Manchester United used to be. This is what you call a well-run club at the moment, yeah, albeit with the 115 charges which have taken them where they are. We're not allowed to mention that still, are we? But still, like, Manchester United are light years behind Manchester City, and that's what's in front of us this week. And all of this going on, is that the best preparation for that game? No, it's not. But I think the bigger concern is the future. Like, this season will be what it is. Can we expect much? No, I'm not going to expect much. I'm going to be realistic. And I said this yesterday as well. I don't think these players have got it in them. I really don't. And I will just hold out on everything that is hopeful and optimistic. I'm not going to get carried away. If we beat City and Arsenal, you'll grab my attention, definitely. But I would still be worried about Fulham. I think I'm pretty certain I said that yesterday as well. That's always been the issue with this team. And sometimes I actually think, like, it doesn't actually matter who's in that dugout now. It's just not going to change their character. It's not going to change the way that they think. Well, yeah, just rounding up them top stories there as well. Manchester United players and Michael Carrick told that they need to make top 5 this season. Champions League football, salvage the season that you cocked up. We're taking no responsibility for it, is the message from Ineos and Jason Wilcox, it would seem. Well, that's how it's being put out there anyway, and I can't see the fans taking it any other way. On top of that, the top 2 targets, according to Romano, or 2 of the top targets for the summer are Tuchel and De Zerbi. But again, will they work within this structure? From what Rob Dorsett from Sky saying, any man coming in has to work with Jason Wilcox. And how are we going to find the man to do that? Are there enough yes men with the right qualifications to handle Manchester United out there? That's the middle ground. That's the stumbling block, I feel, anyway. I want to get into what some of Michael Carrick's interviews said as well, and everything that he's been talking to the Manchester United channel about. So I'll get through that in a moment. First of all, let's get into the chat again and let's see what everybody's saying. There's a couple more super chats have just come in, so let's get through these. Ant says, lack of accountability from Sir Jim Radcliffe downwards is shockingly amateurish. It exposes Ineos for what they really are, and novices. Football isn't business. Well, it is. Football is a business, and we know this. You have to balance everything. But Manchester United have arrogantly just sleepwalked through the last decade, I feel, thinking that no one could touch them, and everybody's taken them. And that does come down to the first part of what you have said there, mate, because there is a lack of accountability, and it goes all the way back to the last decade. It goes back to the Glazers before Ineos. And Ineos have just taken off that baton and just carried on running down that never-ending road of mediocrity. And that's where the fans are not going to let up. And that's where the fans are still going to have an issue. No matter who it is or how long they've been in or what mess they've actually had to deal with from before, fans have lost patience. And I can feel that in the messages and the comments. Robbie says, Pochettino for permanent manager? Oh, I mean, again, it's a manager there that's got experience, but is he the right character? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he'll bring back the good vibe type of atmosphere around United, but Pochettino wouldn't be where I would go. No, I don't think. Greg says, people have lost jobs this year and fans' pockets are pressured because of ticket prices. Sickening that we're all suffering because of a power struggle. Well said, Greg. You're dead right about that, mate. It is literally where we're at the moment. Wilcox is Bellis Endus. I just clicked on what that meant there. Robbie being very clever with his words there, but sending the message that I only just got because it's early morning and I didn't really click onto that straight away there, mate. But yeah, I get what you mean now. Sean says, and that's block in the chat, so you know what I'm talking about there, everyone. I'm going to the City game, Adam. Oh, we're going to lose. Sean's going to the City game. Means we've lost already. Don't bother everybody. I plan to single-handedly or with Stu, in brackets, to block all entry to the megastore. Can you bail us out around 5 p.m, please, mate? Yeah, I'll come and pay out. I'll come and pay you out, mate. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one, because this is one game where you do get a lot of overseas fans coming in. I don't want to say like it's obviously this whole sort of title of like the day trippers. Everyone deserves to go and watch Manchester United, but I'm telling you right now, Derby Day is one of the biggest days for profits at this football club. Massive profits on a Derby Day because that megastore is rammed. And because it's an early kickoff as well, again, like people will be there early at Old Trafford. They'll be staying over the night before and they'll be queuing outside that megastore door. I guarantee it tomorrow. No signings, question mark, says random guy. No Champions League, not a chance. So if we don't sign anyone, he's saying, then we're not going to get Champions League. So again, that pretty much answers the question that I asked everybody else earlier on. Do you feel like this squad has got it in them with 17 games to go to make Champions League? Do you think they can do it? And that's the question that I'm asking this morning because, well, Michael Carrick, obviously, is going to need these players to step up. In terms of Michael Carrick and what he has actually been saying, and this is one quote from Michael Carrick on his first day at Manchester United and what we can expect. Quite a clear day in terms of focus, really. What we want out of the next few days, what we want what we want to look like, or what we want at the end of the season, and what we want that to look like by the end of it. How we want to move forward as a club. It's been a really, really good day. I've loved it, and it's just given me a lot of positivity. Yeah, I could get that. Like, understand that that's where you'd expect Michael Carrick to be talking, and that's what you'd expect him to sort of say. I get it. I totally get that. But he's got to deal with these players yet. He's got to deal with all of these car crash players from this season as well. And yeah, positive talks with the club and the people at Manchester United. I'll be more interested to know how his first day with the players goes. But he also goes on to talk about his coaching team, which is interesting as well. Steve's got an unbelievable wealth of experience, massive experiences at Chelsea in terms of going through similar situations to this, a change of manager and coach and dealing with that and keeping and staying successful. Talking about Steve Holland here. Jonathan, I've known, and he's loyal. He's very knowledgeable. He's the perfect balance to me personally. I think that's important. I don't want all the same. He challenges me, pushes me, and he has done for the last 3 years. And all he'll keep doing, and he'll keep on doing that. I mean, with Jonathan Woodgate, I think that's probably what I was saying yesterday. Jonathan Woodgate is just the man that Michael Carrick feels he needs around him to be the best of him. And obviously, he has to be in control of the situation. So I think Jonathan Woodgate is more for Carrick. I think Binion and Evans are the experience of the younger players coming through potentially that he could use in Binion. And obviously, this team right now would respect Johnny Evans because he's won more than any of these players in this current squad alongside Michael Carrick as a United player. So he's got someone there who the players have to respect in Johnny Evans. He's got that look on the academy side of things from Travis Binion. He's got Jonathan Woodgate, who is going to be the man that helps him be the best that he can be. And then you've got the vast experience of dealing with prima donnas, big players, certain situations at big football clubs like Carrick describes there in Steve Holland. And I'll say it again and repeat what I said last night, and that's I haven't got a problem with what Michael Carrick has done here with his backroom staff. Whatever makes it more comfortable for him, but bringing in Steve Holland, who is unbelievably qualified for this job, is probably the best move that this club has made in a long time. That there is the most sensible appointment that we've seen. He has got the experience way above anybody else in that team. But at least he is a coach type of assistant as well. So anything Carrick puts across, it's going to be doubled down by Steve Holland. Look, I know like I said there, like I'm struggling for positives at the moment, and obviously there are many people that would need to see proof within the pudding and the eating and all of that when it comes to if Carrick's going to work with this new team behind him. Look, I'm totally aware of that, but one thing I will actually look at there is that team, Carrick talking about it, I know he's thought about it. I know that's well structured, I feel anyway, and I've tried my best there just to explain how I think he's gone about that. I think that's how I would look at it in terms of how he sees them people behind him helping him to get the best out of United. And Steve Holland's going to be the biggest one, I feel, out of all of them in pushing Manchester United forward. Don't disregard the experience of that man and what he can bring. So Alex Ferguson lived off bringing in the right number 2, and that was key. There were reports that some of Amorim's coaches didn't even have UEFA qualification in coaching, which is ridiculous. And I still try to figure out if that was factual or not. I've not really looked into it that much recently because he's now gone and I'm not bothered. But again, like, you do need experience of handling these types of players and big football clubs. Carrick's got it and worked under it. Obviously, so too is Johnny Evans. You've got the United impact there in Binion, and then that massive experience in the likes of Steve Holland there. That's big. And yeah, I'm happy that Michael Carrick is actually talking in this way and explaining why. And then the story we got last night from James Ducker in terms of Michael Carrick putting Steve Holland forward gives me a little bit more confidence as well, because that's not just Ineos putting in a man that's worked with Gareth Southgate like many fans would actually think. Like, no one was convinced yesterday that it was a Michael Carrick appointment and he wanted Steve Holland in. It was, this is Ineos going in. I really hope that that is the truth as well. And obviously, I can't believe everything that comes out in the media. And right now, as a United fan, I am lost with what's going on. But I would think that James Ducker from The Telegraph was right in reporting that, and I wasn't made up. And Michael Carrick did pick Holland. I hope it's the case anyway. If it's not, I'm bricking it right now for the summer. But I don't even want to mention the waistcoat man or anything like that in links with Holland. Ray says, thank you very much, Ray. Love that, mate. If it takes Southgate to get tired to get rid of this poison of a board, then I'll support it. Imagine the protest. Imagine the exodus. Southgate's in on all the basis board will get forced out. I mean, look, Southgate's not coming in, I don't think. I think a lot of people have read into that differently, and I do think that it's obvious and it's easy to link the two together. But I'm going to run with what I hope is the positive, and that Carrick brought him in for the experience of his Premier League. And the fact that he didn't mention international football in that statement there, Michael Carrick, or in that piece there when talking to MUTV, gives me a little bit of hope that it was Michael Carrick that decided to bring him in. Now, lots of people, I want to get your thoughts on this, everybody. Lots of people have been talking about the options that Michael Carrick has got. So there was a lot made yesterday about his 4-2-3-1, which he's going to play. I made the point last night that this could be the end of either Bruno or Kobbie Mainoo at Manchester United. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it back from last night. We go into detail on the story at the bottom of your screen now, and Kobbie Mainoo still looking to move away. Michael Carrick speaking to Rio Ferdinand on Rio Ferdinand's podcast a few months ago, saying that he would build a team around Kobbie Mainoo, and Kobbie Mainoo being further forward. The history of Michael Carrick being the one coach to put Bruno on the bench for a big game when he's fit and available. The only time, it would seem. Maybe there is a chance that Kobbie moves in and Bruno moves out. Look, I wouldn't do it, but there's a situation brewing there. But what about the forwards in Manchester United's team and who he picks? Now, I'm going to mention the names here. I'm going to go Manchester United's front three. So Bruno's the 10. Kobbie could be the 10. Let's leave that there. You could, in fact, put Mason Mount in there as well into the reckoning. But the front three, I think Benjamin Sesko is lucky. He's just come into form, but I think because he's the only number 9 in the club, he's going to play at the front. He's going to be the target man, obviously. Then you look at the players around him, like Mbeumo, Ahmad, Cunha. Put into the live comment section if you're live with us right now, your combination for the front three. Forget the 10. You've got Mount, you've got Xerxes, you've got Mbeumo, you've got Ahmad, you've got Cunha. They're all the players in and amongst it. Some might even throw Shea Lacey in there if you wanted to really mix it up a little bit. I don't see anybody. Maybe you could see Cunha or Mount playing a false 9 if Sesko falls off again. Like Sesko 3 in 2 games. That's 5 for the season for him now. Maybe we'll start seeing more from him in the back end of this season. I don't know. I hope that Sesko stays in the team and he keeps on scoring goals. But I'm still not fully convinced by his performances yet. What's the formation? Sorry, what's the combination that you would go with? Where would you go? Because I can't leave Ahmad out. I was thinking about this last night. I'm sat there and I'm going, Ahmad, Mbeumo. And at the moment, my front three in front of Bruno or Maina, whichever way Carrick goes with it, and I'm open. I'm completely open. I want to give Carrick his chance. So if he wants to drop Bruno, I'm fine. All on Carrick. And look, I've got my opinion. I wouldn't do it. But if he does that, my front three in front of that player would be, and this is mine anyway, I would go with Ahmad, Mbeumo and Sesko. I would drop Cunha at the moment. I think he's a weak link for Manchester United. And I want to make this and stress this. Cunha isn't a bad player. He's trying too hard and it's making him look average at the moment. He is putting so much pressure on himself and you can see it in the way that he's playing. Someone needs to grab him and sit him down and say, calm down, and put him on the bench. Even putting him on the bench would teach Matthias Cunha a lesson, I feel. And I cannot drop Mbeumo and Ahmad out of this team. I think they work the best. And now we've got a situation where Ahmad and Mbeumo went away and they went away with a Manchester United right-hand side. So we were all worried when Mbeumo, Ahmad and Mazraoui left, playing a 3-4-3, that we'd lost our complete right-hand side. And that's what they left United with. They're coming back to a completely different looking Manchester United side now and a different way of playing. So where does Ahmad play? Does he play automatically then on the right-hand side? Can you bring Ahmad in on the left now of that front three? Mbeumo, ideally, is your man for the right. Ahmad's our best player, I think, that we had before the summer anyway. I actually feel right now like Cunha's the one that needs the talking to. Cunha's the one that's probably is going to be looked at, I think, amongst the Man United fans anyway. I mean, you could say, like Kaz just said there, then do you think Cunha will be under less pressure when the likes of Ahmad and Mbeumo come back and he can relax a bit more? It's a good point because he looks like he's tried to take it upon himself while these other players are missing and to do more. And I think it's affected his game. But I can see lots of people there talking about it. Mbeumo is the most natural goal scorer compared to Ahmad and Cunha. There's lots of people saying I'd play Ahmad against... Yeah, Carl's right with the lower block thing as well there. Ahmad's the best player for the lower blocks because he runs at players. He can take that ball into the box and get the penalty or get fouled. He will drive in at that back line. So low block teams, maybe Ahmad. Does that mean that we don't play Ahmad against Arsenal and Manchester City though? Because they're going to come at us and dominate the ball. So interesting. Is Ahmad the release in that game? Or do you drop him and take more control and look after the ball better? I'm not saying Ahmad doesn't look after the ball. I mean, I look at Cunha's performances recently, which is why I brought it into the conversation. He hasn't been great at all. And he's been lacking. He has. And I think that is, from what I said then, he's putting that much pressure on himself to cover what's not there. Maybe it is right that if these players come back, Cunha will start to ease off a little bit. Yeah, pace beats City, City and Arsenal, which is why I would choose Cunha and Mbeumo for the breaks. Let's see what else we've got in here. We need Ahmad and Dorgu down the left. They linked up well when they played together down the same side. So you would put Ahmad in the left-hand position of the three up front. Dorgu at left back. And then on the right-hand side, Mbeumo. I would love to have Mazraoui back right now. Does that mean it's got to be bleeding Dalot? Oh, God. And honestly, that guy scares me. That guy scares me every single game he plays. And unfortunately, we haven't got Mazraoui, because Mazraoui would play, I think. It's going to be interesting to see what Carrick does when Mazraoui comes back. Is this the time when we see the back end of Dalot? Interesting. I seen a picture, it was a little video of Michael Carrick celebrating a goal that was scored against Chelsea for Manchester United. And Dalot was sat on the bench. I'm hoping that vision comes back again and Dalot is back on the bench where he belongs. I really, really hope that is the case. I think he needs to just take it down a notch and do his basics to bed in the game better, and then use the flair he has in bursts. But the team around him, it must be frustrating. Are you talking about Cunha there on that one, Greg? I think he's replying to Debs in the chat there. Steve Holland, is Southgate's a bitch. Expect Southgate to take over in the summer. Oh, come on, mate. Like that's a Colin, you got to think better than that. There's more to it than that, like we've just described, mate. Look, if that does happen, mate, I'll come back to you and say that you were right, and I'll be crying in front of the camera if that's the case. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Mazraoui will be back for the Arsenal game. Yep. Obviously, AFCON finishes this weekend as well, everybody. So, semi-final tonight for Mazza. No way of him coming back early enough, though, because you've got the third place round as well. So, he's guaranteed to have a game this weekend no matter what. So, if he goes out or he goes through to the final, it doesn't matter. The only game that Mazraoui can be back for now is the Arsenal game a week on Sunday. So, yeah, that's not going to be doable for us, for Mazza to be back, unfortunately. But, look, he'll be back for the big game against Arsenal. And honestly, I would be putting him straight in that side. I think he's that important. And in a back four, wow, yes. Poor Mazraoui, he's not had a chance to play this back four yet. He's been stuck all over the place. Wing back, the third centre back. I don't mind him in them positions, but it's not his best position. He's a natural back four, right back type of player. I cannot wait for him and others to play in their natural positions. I don't think there was any belief behind the situation with Fletcher. And we've seen a back four. It didn't work quite well. And the midfield was all over the place. I'm hoping Michael Carrick is going to be able to organise that midfield. And I'm intrigued to see what he does with it. It's going to be something I'm going to be all over anyway. Please give the video a like, everybody. That is going to take us way, way, way past that 300 live like mark. Absolutely mega conversation this morning. Just to go over the top stories yet again. Any manager coming in has to work with Jason Wilcox. That has been said by Sky Sports' Rob Dorset as the main reason. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to rebuild Manchester United and be part of the longer-term future. That wasn't going to fly with Ineos. He didn't have the qualities, and in meetings, it wasn't seen as a go-to for a lot of the players. They preferred Michael Carrick. Also, on Monday, Jason Wilcox had a meeting with the players where he told them that they need to make top 5. Otherwise, it's a failure. Forgetting anything that's happened above the player level at this football club and not taking any responsibility themselves, it would seem. What is the bigger problem? The fact that they think that this team are the real fault and they need to make top 5, or the fact that the hierarchy are not taking any accountability, it would seem. Get into the comments section and let me know. 2 top targets for the summer, according to Romano, also are De Zerbi and Tuchel. Would you take any of them? Get into the comments and let me know. I'm going to wrap things up there for the live, everybody. Absolutely amazing job again. Well over 300 likes there. Loads of super chats. Thank you for all the contributions. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Have a great day, whatever you're up to. If anything breaks, I'll be all over it later on, keeping you fully updated. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified